It's the Jack and Nick Horror Show.
Hello, Nick.
Hi, Jack.
Hello, people.
Hi, people.
Hello, aliens.
Well, I don't want to welcome them.
Why not? Oh, yeah,
Oof.
that's right. You're terrified of this. Hello, gray aliens.
No, please. They could be listening. If they're interdimensional beings that slip into and out of our reality, they could be right here. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to go too deep into that because it's like, I'll have nightmares.
Well,
For real.
we're gonna be talking about aliens tonight.
Right, but they're not the type that horrify me, really. And are we going to be talking about aliens?
Sort of. Well, maybe.
All right.
It's possible.
Welcome to the Jack and Nick Horror Show.
Yes, that's what this is. It's two assholes like everybody else talking about horror movies, except we do it better.
And except for last
kidding.
week last episode we didn't talk about movies, but this week we're going to talk about just movies. Everybody calm down.
Yeah, calm down, everyone. Relax. And I'm joking. There are far better podcasts out there than us.
Oh, far better. By far. But also, not many of them talk about new flavors of Oreos as much as I do.
No.
Because I just had the other day a jelly donut Oreo.
And guess how was that?
You had it? No, all right. Well, all right. It wasn't really a jelly donut like Oreo at all. Like, all it is like you take the white Oreo cookie. It's got the white cream on the inside, and then in the middle, there's like a little bit of jelly or jam or something, and it tastes like a jam tart. So that wasn't very donut-like.
You know what I had?
What?
Well, before I go into it, cookies and cream Pop-Tarts. They're very delicious. They taste exactly like Oreos.
They're decent.
But guess what I drank this weekend?
What's that?
Pepsi Fire. You mentioned
Oh, yeah.
it on the last episode that we did.
Right. Did you like it?
It's delicious. I love it.
Really?
Yeah. I really like cinnamon, so I was intrigued, and then I said, this is really good. Yeah, it tastes like cough syrup, but what soda doesn't? I mean, Monster. I mean, have you really tasted Monster? It tastes like shit. But we drink it because they put cocaine in it. So it's, no,
It is true.
They probably don't put cocaine in it.
So, let's talk about this week's movie.
Oh, yeah,
We saw The Void. Let's go.
We saw The Void, and we're going to talk about movies.
Mm-hmm.
All right, later. And we're back. We're back.
I'm sorry, I fucked that up.
No, it's okay. We'll keep it in, Nick. We'll keep it in just because people like that stuff. They like raw stuff.
This is raw. This is Jack and Nick raw.
It is. Righty. Movie, The Void. 2016, even though it just came out in 2017. Came out in 2016 in some parts. Is a movie directed by Jeremy Gillespie and Steven Kostanski. You might know those names from the Astron 6 guys. They didn't actually call this the Astron 6 movie. They turned it into their own type of film. Here's the little plot synopsis we have. Shortly after delivering a patient to an understaffed hospital, a police officer experiences strange and violent occurrences seemingly linked to a group of mysterious hooded figures. That plot synopsis from the Internet Movie Database kind of sucks. What the movie is really about is sort of like that, but there's a lot more to it. Nick, why don't you jump in here and explain exactly what this movie is?
Well, I don't know how one could explain what exactly this movie is, because
You don't know what it means?
No, what do you mean? No. I mean, I'm saying like even trying to tie it down to a subgenre of film is hard. You know what I mean?
Horror sci-fi.
Horror sci-fi, sure, but it's a nice weird movie, and that's wonderful. And it feels like nothing that I've ever seen, yet it kind of feels a little familiar, but without being like one of those heavily nostalgic movies that we constantly complain about, or heavily referential ones.
Have you seen this? Have you seen this? Have you seen, that
yes, that type of thing. Yeah. It really is wholly its own original thing, and yet it feels kind of like attached. Doesn't it feel like familiar when you watch it?
Yeah.
I mean, it almost feels like the type of thing that you would see when you were younger on like a Saturday night on cable, But
if this movie were presented like that, there are a lot of people that really like this movie, but there are also people that are really hating on this movie, and I'll get to that in a little while. But it's one of those movies that if it were like you're up late, you got home from hanging out with your friends, you put it on the TV, and then this comes on, 10, 15 minutes into it, that's where the movie is kind of, it just takes over, You're really interested in what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
So, Nick, as far as, we'll get into this discussion later, but as far as, how much you enjoyed the movie, would you say it's probably on par for like top 5 of the year so far?
I could say that. I don't like to give away my top 5, but it's probably definitely like I mean, I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it. I almost can't find bad things to say about it. Like I don't know what I didn't like about it. Like so much of it is just like it's hard to explain the movie without you having actually seen it, dear listener. But it's because I also don't want to tell you every detail of it, because I heard some other reviews of it where they were just like giving the whole thing away, and I was like, dude, you're ruining it for people. Yeah. The less you know about it, the better, because it's so unpredictable. There is nothing that you could predict about this movie.
The worst part of a lot of the people that see it are trying to meld it with the other movies, like that it is being compared to, like The Thing and The Beyond, and H.P. Lovecraft, Cthulhu, like all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the directors really didn't want to go that route. They weren't being wink, wink, nudge, nudge throughout the whole movie. It may seem like that, but if you actually watch the making of and see the torture that they went through in getting this thing done, is a lot.
Because they had a lot of practical effects, is what you mean by that.
Right.
I couldn't even pick. I mean, I'm sure that there was like some CGI for like color correction and stuff like that. Right. Every movie uses that by default these days, but generally all of the horror effects looked very real, because they were, in fact, using props and practical setups, which is why it gets so many comparisons to The Thing. I don't even think that plot-wise it's not that close to The Thing
really
at all.
Isn't. It's more close to the Mist than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. I actually said that it was like The Mist when I was watching it, where it was like they get trapped in a building, the characters, who are all like this is something I could tell you without spoiling the movie. They're all kind of like blue-collar type characters who all get stuck in a middle-of-nowhere hospital in the Midwest. And there are creepy hooded beings outside and probably something terrible inside the hospital. Mm-hmm. So, and what it becomes is, horrific, grotesque stuff where unknowable, undescribable monsters start crawling out of people.
Right.
There you go. That doesn't spoil the movie. That's a good. It took us like 7 minutes, but we finally described what the movie is like.
It is kind of hard to describe. And
without spoiling.
Right. Full disclosure, this did have a campaign to raise money for the effects and the film itself, which I did contribute to. And I got the Astron 6 soundtrack, which was phenomenal, for all their movies, like Father's Day and The Editor and Manboard and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Now, the funny thing that's happening, Nick, with The Void, right now, like the only way you can get the Blu-ray, if you want to get the Blu-ray, is through Diabolic DVD. If you want the DVD, you have to get it through Amazon. You can't get the Blu-ray through Amazon because they had some kind of distribution deal that set up that way. Which I heard that the DVD had a glitch where it's out of sync for I think a whole good portion of the movie. So I guess they're doing some kind of replacement thing, whatever. But the thing I'm hearing about The Void, which really has bothered me, you know that I'm a champion of Astron 6. There's no denying that. I believe you are too, Nick.
Absolutely. Name the other movies they made for the people?
I have. It's Father's Day, Manborg, which also has Biocop, and The Editor. Now, a lot of people that... this is kind of going to turn into a different type of discussion at times, so bear with us if you're new to the show. It's just how we roll. And that'll be the last time I say that on the show. The Void, though, or Astron 6, are what they are is a group of guys and girls and people. It's a group that they're from Canada, and they make pretty much they're known for doing the retro thing. The first big movie that they made was Father's Day, which was a somewhat independent success-ish kind of thing that was put out by Troma. It was piggybacking off of the Grindhouse movie that had come out. It's sort of in the vein of Hobo with a Shotgun, I think, except a little bit funnier than Hobo with a Shotgun. Now, the thing though with Astron 6 is that before all this, they made these little shorts, and if you get a chance, the shorts that they have this disc that's out, and it has pretty much their entire catalog on it. It's put out by Troma, and there are shorts, and some of the shorts are about 20 minutes long. It feels like you're watching The Void at times, at a very, very low budget, though. And there's one short in particular called The Heart of Carl, which this totally feels like, too, but it also feels like a mixture of this with Manborg mixed together. And some of it is very serious, so they're not always, jokey and retro, but a lot of people, I've noticed this recently, and Nick, I don't know if you've noticed this or not too. It happened after The Editor had come out. Now, recently, a lot of people, when The Editor was put out, it was put out by Shout Factory, which is, they're putting out great material. So a lot of people bought The Editor thinking it's going to be another fun Giallo movie. And a lot of people are like, this movie is terrible. People that are Giallo fans, if you're a Giallo fan, I'll explain this to you. Or if you're not a Giallo fan, I'll explain this to you. If you like sleazy exploitation, boobs, bloods, black gloves type of movies that can be boring, but also dirty and sleazy, but fun at the same time, then you'll enjoy the Giallo. That's exactly what The Editor did, except it did it to the nth degree. It made a Giallo movie it was a satire, but also serious for those people who either don't like Giallo movies, love Giallo movies, or love Italian cinema. Like, they just mixed everything together. They put Fulci in there, etc., etc.
Right.
And then what had happened was it turned against them, where people would just complain, saying that The Editor is the worst movie they've ever seen. It's downright disrespectful to the Giallo genre. That's like saying that, somebody making fun of August Underground movies is disrespectful to August Underground movies. It's not.
I think a better comparison would be to say, that's like saying Shaun of the Dead is disrespectful to zombie movies.
To zombie movies, yeah, same way. It's like, so all of a sudden there's this, not really a backlash per se, but the Astron 6 guys who have talent, a lot of people just, I don't know if it's the Canadian humor they're just not getting over here or what, but there have been a lot of people that are like, oh, The Void is trash and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not going to mention them by name here, but there is one podcast in general that, across the board, they have a bunch of hosts on the show, and they all said it's not a good movie. It's just a bunch of effects. The Void, that is. And they all hated the editor, too. I was watching The Void with my girlfriend, Lauren, and she had posted that she's watching The Void. Right away, boom, somebody has to jump right on. Those guys are terrible. They made the editor. I'm not going to watch any more of their movies because I hated the editor. Like, people these days cannot wait to tell you how much they love something and how much they hate something. Like, they have to jump on. It's like, hey, I'm just watching this movie. Do you really have to jump on their on their platform and start dogging the thing that they're watching? You know?
Yeah, that's just a weird thing that people like to do.
Of course.
Especially with, like, little-known stuff. I mean, it's like knowing a little band.
Right.
You know? You'll always have the people who, like, 3 albums in are going to be like, yeah, I like their first album better, even if their third one is objectively good. And, again, this is not a comedy movie. Like, just because they had prior movies that were, like, goofy comedies, especially Father's Day, this is not at all
it's not funny
a
at
comedic
all.
movie.
No.
I thought it was just a great movie to watch. Like, so much fun. Like, so many horror movies are so full of themselves that, you know, they're trying to be all of these other things, and they forget, like, just the fundamental pieces that make a horror movie good, that make a movie tense or make a movie mysterious. Right. You know? And I just feel like this movie captures so many things from scene to scene, from idea to idea. And I think that, like, they're telling enough stories crisscrossing one another between all these characters that nothing feels slow at all. It almost feels really brisk when it's over. You're like, wow, what the hell just happened? Which is funny because they also take time to build stuff up. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, what I was saying was that you know, let's say there's another show out there, which I like, but these guys dog the shit out of this movie. Like, it's just okay at best. And I'm like, okay, you know, you can have your own opinion, that's fine. The same people, though, are like, this piece of shit that you watch on Netflix for free is the greatest movie you've ever seen in your life because we know that person. It's so...
That's so many horror podcasts.
So many horror podcasts, yeah. If they like get a like or a comment from, or a retweet from anybody that makes a horror movie these days, right away they're like instant, you know, best friends with them and stuff. But that shit happens. But Nick, to bounce off what you were talking about, they've been saying this for years. Right now, and it's true, the big budget movies that are coming out in theaters are the B movies. And the B movies are now becoming, you know, the independent movies, they're all becoming the ones that are going for Oscar.
Isn't that really weird?
It is weird.
And it's not just horror, it's across the board.
Across the board. You know, superheroes and, you know, action extravaganzas and Transformers and G.I. Joe shit. Like,
right. Not that there's any problem with. Well, I mean, there's a lot of problems with most of those.
Fast and the Furious. But
I mean, like, I was talking the other day. I almost feel like I don't want to see any movies in the theater. I saw one the other day, and it was the first one I had seen in like maybe 6 to 8 weeks, and before that one, I hadn't seen anything for like months, you know, and I go like months at a time not going to the theater. Right. And I mean, maybe there's some people out there that are like, oh, The Mummy is going to be great. Guess what? It's not. It really didn't do too well at the box office in its first weekend. I bet it's going to do worse as it goes on, which is great. And I'll tell you why some other day. You know, it's funny, actually, here, just to break to an aside, we were going to have a discussion about upcoming horror, you know, cinematic universes, right. And we were going to talk about the Dark Universe, the Universal Monsters horror shared universe that Universal was trying to create. I'm kind of happy we didn't do that, because if we had that discussion, it would feel pretty silly talking about a movie that pretty much is going to bomb at the theaters, considering how much it cost to make The Mummy, $125 million, and it made like 35 in its first weekend, and it's not going to do well. I don't think it's going to do well internationally. I don't think it's going to do well anymore because I'm sick of looking at Tom Cruise's goddamn head, and I think the rest of the world is finally catching on that you don't got to look at Tom Cruise's goddamn face anymore. He's 56. He could be a grandpa.
So The Void, the one thing I really liked about it, the cast was really good. Like the cast is really good for, I mean, what they're dealing with here. The only recognizable person, I mean, aside from Matthew Kennedy, who's in it for like a second. What is it? Art Hindle from Porky's and Black Christmas. Like, he's
right, but he's recognizable to you, and you see that's exactly what it is. Is like every character in this is like you've seen them someplace before, but you don't know who they are.
Right.
There's nobody here who's like slumming it from their A-list job, you know. Like there's one person in this movie who was in Scott Pilgrim, which that that was an alright movie. Hey, that was 7 years ago, so I haven't seen you in anything for 7 years. There was somebody else I think who's in. Just now she's in like a minor character in what the hell's that show on Hulu? The House something, the Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, Handmaid's.
There's one of the characters is from Handmaid's Tale. Like stuff like that. They're all from like smaller productions if you've seen them at all, but they all seem kind of recognizable a little, and it's really good because it's not distracting. It's not like when you watch Snowpiercer and like Chris Evans is there, or is that his name, Chris Evans, Captain America? You know what I mean? Captain America's there, and it's like, well, here's Captain America just taking out a train full of people. Okay, not that Snowpiercer has really problems or anything like that, but I'm just saying,
no, it doesn't.
There's no situation like that in this movie, and yet the cast is so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that always makes a good horror movie, because you're normally people aren't going to a horror movie to see A-listers. They're going to see the monster because the monster is the A-lister. That's the sale. That's what you like when, for instance, like when Scream came out at the exact moment that it could have made money and it did. People weren't going to the movie to go see Neve Campbell. They weren't going to the movie to see Skeet Ulrich because they had no idea who Skeet Ulrich was. They were going because they were like, wait a minute. There's a ghost face mask weird guy running really fast and killing people. I want to go see that. That's what drove people to the theater. And they saw it. Same thing here, except we don't go to the theater anymore. We fucking do everything VOD or buy Blu-ray and then complain about it on Facebook where nobody cares. The only people that care are... Anyway, I'm not going into that. But, The Void, though, is... That's what it does. It grabs these characters that are, or actors that are not well known, throws them in this monster gooey mess of a movie, and you're going to see the monster gooey mess of a movie. You're not going to see character development. You're not going to see any of this. And people will argue and say, well, that's what movies are, but not this kind of movie. I mean, sure, you can do that with this kind of movie, but people will check out. And they do that with these kind of movies, and people still check out, like, It Follows, The Babadook, The Witch. People just call them, oh, they're not horror movies, they're dramas, and it's all bullshit. This is a bona fide horror, gooey mess of a movie. And in a good way, not like,
Absolutely agree. I think it's just good stuff, man. I'm totally happy with The Void.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I can't even come up with criticisms for it. That's how much I liked it. Like,
right. I watched it like 3 times since I got it, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really trying to think like what's even all right. I have one maybe a criticism. Not even. I'll give a constructive criticism rather than a straight out like I didn't like this or negative or pro or con. I think the ending could be divisive for some people. It might be a little bit too much, and the ending is weird. Obviously, the whole movie is weird. The whole movie actually reminds me very much of Beyond the Black Rainbow, this movie from a couple of years ago that was like mysterious and weird. And then at the end, that movie took like a grave turn into just being a slasher movie out of nowhere, and I didn't like that. With this movie, it's very different. Like, there is no veering out of its lane into another movie or anything like that. I just felt like the ending was like the type of thing that you would write on a first draft and then come back to later on and be like, well, maybe we can tone that down a little, like not give away so many answers that are also creating more questions. But, you know, maybe they couldn't have done something else that would have been better for more people. But at the same time, it doesn't really bother me that much because I like it when a movie goes over the top, but it didn't really go over the top. I don't know. You'd have to see it. So
it went
watch
somewhere.
the ending and tell me what you think of the ending, please. You can hit us up on Twitter. That's where we always are, at Jack and Nick Show, or at Jacob666, or at
Jacob
New Jersey Nick.
666.
I don't know. Jacob6. What's it? Jacob K666.
Nobody
At
knows.
New Jersey Nick.
We don't know what we're doing. We're just.
I know. Well, I just threw those in here because I'm like, now I don't have to say them at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Ha ha.
You saved time. Good.
I did.
The other movies that it reminds me of, but it doesn't mimic, is Hellraiser and From Beyond as well.
Yep. It definitely has the same vibe as both of those movies. Well, Hellraiser, I was thinking about when I was watching it, especially at parts of the movie where like more monsters are being revealed.
Right.
Had a very Cenobite vibe to me, if you ask me. And you'll say the same thing when you watch this movie, probably, because now I've implanted that idea in your brain, and I didn't want to reveal even that much. But if you haven't seen it yet, you'll probably see it and go, yeah, those look like Cenobites to me.
And as far as knocking down characters, this movie knocks down characters that you would think would last. Like, there's an order, but there's no particular order. If that makes sense.
Right. It's very unpredictable. Yeah. It's just like, and like, yeah, I mean, like, to even think what happens to like the minor characters where they suddenly become major, be it the good guys or the villains, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's got a lot of, it almost felt like a Resident Evil or a Silent Hill video game at times, where like they're going through and they're rummaging through stuff and they're finding like all these clues that are completely blowing open way more than you expected to find in this movie.
Right.
Way more. And I mean, it's just, I want to watch it again, but unfortunately I rented it. All right, here's the stupid thing. Let me tell you. On Xbox, they had on demand, rent this movie for $4.99, buy this movie for $6.99. And I was like, do I really want to take the chance of spending $2 more? And I didn't. So I was stupid. So I could have owned the movie for $2 more, and now I have to wait until I see it on sale somewhere or something and buy it, which will never happen according to you because of the weird distribution format of the movie itself. Right. So I'm an idiot, and especially because, like, dude, just 2 weeks ago I bought Get Out on Xbox, digital download for like $15. Why couldn't I spend $7 on The Void? I don't know. Stupid.
You're stupid. And I don't want to just dwell on people that don't like this, because there are a lot of people that absolutely love this movie. And they are not... The funny thing is that it doesn't feel like an Astron 6 movie, number one. And number two, they don't even say that they're Astron 6, which I think is kind of smart too.
Right, because they're separating it from the brand of the goofy, referential humor
that Astron 6 has been known for.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Which is smart. I mean, these guys they have talent, and they all have talent in their own way. And as far as writing and comedy and timing and all that, they're really good. And so many people have been buying this Blu-ray. I know that for a fact. They have already sold out when it first, the first shipment of them went out, and they all went out, and they had to wait for a whole new shipment to come through. So I'm glad that they're actually doing really good with this movie, because they deserve it. It would be cool to see something good happen with these guys. It really would. I mean, yeah, I'm a fan of theirs, but I want to see good things happen to people that give a shit. And these guys give a shit. They're not just going through the motions. Whether you love their movies or hate their movies, they're not just like, yeah, we made this movie as creatures. We're cool. They're like, they put a lot of effort into it. And a lot of their own money they had to throw into it as well. So, Nick, any final thoughts?
No, I think just go see The Void, people.
Go see it. Yeah, trust us. And if you don't like it, well, don't trust us next time we tell you to go see something.
Yeah. Speaking of, let's talk about a few other movies that we think people should go see. These aren't the movies of the week. This is just the shit we seen. Is that the name of the segment? No, it's not.
No.
So, in a bit of catsup of the horror movies that I've seen that we haven't really talked about much on the show.
Yes,
there's one
but we must.
Yeah, we must now. We must discuss these things. I've got two.
Nobody gets it.
From over. No, I don't get it. Yes, now I'm getting it. Yes, now I'm getting it. Okay,
I hate
we're
myself.
both
I hate
like
myself.
so
See,
lame.
If there's any haters on me, guess what? I hate myself before you did.
Right, he's even better at hating himself than you are.
I'm my own fucking hipster. Go on.
So we got a couple of movies that I saw. I'm like years behind, so I'm going to go in chronological order. The first one that I saw recently, I saw Eli Roth's Knock Knock. Now, this movie I
fucking love this movie.
You do?
I do.
I had heard.
I'll explain, but go ahead.
I had heard it was his best movie.
No.
After seeing it, I would say it's not his best movie. Oh my god! So this movie is about
this movie. What's it called?
Knock Knock. There's Keanu Reeves is like this happy father who doesn't go with his family on vacation because he needs to stay behind at the house and do his architect job. First off, one of my greatest pet peeves about horror movies, when the father is an architect or writer and has no job and therefore gets to stay home all the time. I hate that. I hate it. And it happens so much in horror movies. Why are they always architects? Why? Anyway, so you got
so they can be at home.
Well, all right. And when he's at home, he stays at home. There's like a big rainstorm, and suddenly there's a knock knock at his door, and it turns out that it's these two young girls who are soaking wet and just need to come in and make a call, but their phones are ruined or something, and then their clothes are ruined. So he lets them wash their clothes, and then it turns out they're like raping him, but he likes it, so he just goes with it. That's the setup of the movie. I didn't spoil anything. That's the premise. After that, it's like this movie becomes like these women start just trashing his house and ruining his life. That's the whole plot of the movie. Mm-hmm. And you get the feeling that he might like fight back, like axe murder the two of them. And I'm not going to spoil it, but it's really just like I'm not even sure what the message of the movie is, other than women are terrible. Don't trust them; they're going to ruin your life.
I could tell you what the message is, but
hang on.
I'm waiting.
I got one other thing I had to say about this movie. This movie, Knock Knock, is Gremlins, but instead of like cute little Mogwai that turn into gremlins, you got women that turn into crazy bitches. It's Gremlins. Okay, sorry. Tell me about this. You've seen Knock Knock.
I love it, and I'll tell you why. It's a sort of remake of Death Game, which is Colleen Camp, who's in the movie. She's the one that shows up midway through. Her and Sandra Locke were in Death Game. And they were the girls that knocked on Seymour Castle's door. And Seymour Castle wants nothing to do with that fucking movie. They had to like dub his voice because he hated it. Mm-hmm. And it's the same exact plot where They knock on his door. It's Father's Day, or maybe it's his birthday. I can't remember exactly. And basically it's a free pizza scenario, and that's what Eli Roth calls it. It's
the
a free
greatest line
yeah
in the movie.
Yeah, and that's what he calls it. He says it's a free pizza movie where if there's a knock at your door and there's a pizza right there, do you take the free pizza or do you give the free pizza back to whoever left it there? I mean, I for one wouldn't trust any pizza that's there by itself because it's probably laced with something. So it's kind of a bad analogy, but that's what he calls the movie. And I mean, I thought of it as a comedy. It's a downright. It's hysterical.
I mean, there's parts that feel like they're unintentionally funny,
right?
But I think that they're deliberately unintentionally. Like, there's no way that you could think that this was not meant to be funny, even though it feels unintentionally funny. And it also feels very much like there's this movie that Eli Roth claims is his favorite, and I sought it out. It's called To Be 20, and it is an Italian movie from the 70s.
I did buy it on DVD after you saw it.
Yeah, did you ever watch it?
Not yet. I'm going to.
Completely stupid. But it's also about these two like promiscuous girls who go around, they get abused by guys, and then they get like gang raped and they die and the movie ends. I'm just telling you so that you don't have to go back and see the movie, because you could think it's a rape revenge movie, but there's no revenge. It's just the moral of the story was literally the Italians have no patience for this type of promiscuity. That was the moral of that movie. But I almost felt like the two girls in this movie are very similar to those two from To Be 20. And it's very weird.
Except they get punished in To Be 20.
Right.
Whereas they are the punishers in.
Yeah, I feel like this was their revenge, almost like in the movie Hard Candy, where the girl is just like, she's like, I'm nobody, and maybe I'm every girl who's ever been molested in America, something like that at the end of the movie. This movie is Gremlins plus Hard Candy, minus Ellen Page. It is. It is the perfect equation for this movie. So tell me about a movie you've seen lately.
I would recommend Knock Knock. I enjoyed it.
I actually would not recommend it. I don't think there's a lot of people that are going to enjoy that movie. I'm not even sure if I enjoyed that movie or not.
If you like one setting of movies that take place over the course of one night, you might enjoy it.
That you're never going to watch again. That you're never. but you're gonna laugh at lines from it to the other three people who've seen it. Like the ending, the last thing that happens in the movie is so funny. I'm not gonna ruin it, but Jack, confirm.
I bet you, yes, and you're gonna think about it over and over, and you're gonna say, you know what? I really like Knock Knock.
That's the best part of the movie, is the very last thing that happens. Anyway, tell me about the movie you've seen.
Oh, I've seen a few. One of them, and I'm already going to call it right now, it's probably more than likely going to be in the top 5 of 2017. It is, and I'm late to the party, I know, The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Oh, that one came out last year, so you can go back to last year and put it in your top 5.
You know what? You can blow me because it was like on the cusp, and yeah, I'll fucking put it. I'll do what I did with Strange Voice.
Put it in for next year. Put it in your favorite movie of 2018.
2018. Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. It's the perfect horror movie.
See, I've heard so much good stuff about this one that I don't know.
It's the perfect horror movie. Well, it takes place during one night, so you may not like it. I'm kidding. But Nick, it's the guy that made Troll Hunter made it, and I know you like Troll Hunter. Okay,
I love it. Yeah.
The idea, for those of you who are living under a rock, the 5 of you who listen to our show, basically what the movie is about is police find dead body of Jane Doe buried underneath of a house where a bunch of people were slaughtered. They are like, hey, this is weird. The girl has gray eyes. She's dead. So they drop her off at Brian Cox and Emil Hirsch's residents, who are they're doing the autopsy. They're the what are those people called next? You know, those people. Coroners, yes. So they get the body in. Emil Hirsch's girlfriend comes over. She's like, "Hey, it's all good. Let's go fucking have a good time." And he's like, "Well, I gotta be here for my dad and stuff, you know." And she's like, "Yeah, no, it's cool. Maybe I'll stop by later." He's like, "Yeah, it'd be great, right?" And then she all of a sudden becomes like transfixed with bodies, and she's like, "Hey, I want to see that body. What about that one?" They open it up, and she's like, "Oh no, put that body away." And they go, "What about that one?" So they bring Jane Doe out. So she goes away, and he goes, "Come back later." And she goes, "I will." And the autopsy begins. And as the autopsy begins, I'm not going to give away everything. Strange things start to happen within the workplace. And things that were planted throughout the movie appear again later. And it becomes the type of movie that you're expecting, but with a different kind of twist thrown in that makes it even cooler than what you thought it was going to be in the first place. Does that make sense? Probably not. But
yeah.
If you're going into this movie and you're like, okay, this is going to be, and I'm just going to lay this out there in a different way so I don't ruin the movie for you. This is going to be a movie about dogs. Okay, cool. It's going to be a movie about... Nope, guess what? It's about cats. It's about cats. That's what it's about. That's the kind of movie it is. And it doesn't pull any punches. It's violent. It's creepy. If you have a surround system, I highly recommend listening to it with the surround system. It's really, really... tremendous. I just fell in love with it. It's kind of perfect. It's the perfect horror movie. Much like Get Out was. Yeah.
The trailer, when the trailer first came out and the setup for it, it seemed so much like a regular supernatural horror movie that I just skipped it, because like, to me, those movies are so goddamn played out that
yeah, I know. And I bought it. I shopped at Walmart, and I saw it. And it was $12, and you know, it's Scream Factory has this thing with their IFC movies. They release them to Walmart months earlier than Amazon or anywhere else, and they release them at cheaper prices. So $12. I'm like, I already had it pre-ordered on Amazon, so I said, forget you, Amazon. So I got it. And I'm glad I did, man. It's a cool movie. I don't want to ruin it. I can tell you after we record what it sort of is, just to get you.
No, I don't want you to. Okay. I mean, I'll probably see it. So yeah. I still want to see it. When it's on Netflix, I don't feel like spending money on it.
It'll probably be on Netflix. Once it goes to Blu-ray and all that on Amazon, that's when their IFC movies hit Netflix.
Yeah.
So probably within the next couple weeks, it'll be there.
Cool.
All right. What else have you seen? Yeah.
The next movie that I'd like to discuss is another one that I missed. This one from last year. It is one that everybody said was so super great. And I guess it was okay. I didn't think as highly of it as the rest of the world. It's 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Did you love it like super badly?
I didn't love it like super badly, no, but it's I thought it was tense and really great. John Goodman's fantastic. The whole cast is really great. John Goodman stands out because I mean the guy is John Goodman. But yeah, I would say it's 75% fantastic, and then 25% okay. Yeah, it's good. That's better.
I just found it to be pretty much okay throughout. I mean, yeah, there's like obviously John Goodman's really good in it, but I felt like it was just not what everybody else in the world had sold to me. So I don't know. I thought it was okay. I honestly fell asleep at one point, and I think it was because I was bored, and I was also tired.
That's what I mentioned before. Sometimes you just don't gotta buy the shit that people are shoveling.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not hating the movie. I don't completely hate it. I'd say it was like a nice B or B minus movie, but I think the rest of the world sold it like it was an A. And if I had paid to see that in theater, I probably would have liked it even less, just because I was like, I don't know. And I especially like the end gets a little weird, obviously, when like it finally ties into Cloverfield, except it completely doesn't. Well, I hope that doesn't spoil it, but I don't see it really. The two movies are not exactly connected in any way, but they're supposed to be. So whatever.
There's a rumor out there. I don't know if it's true or not. That it was not a Cloverfield movie, the original script.
Yeah, he said it shares. Yeah, exactly. The original script was not, and he says it shares, like J.J. Abrams says, it shares DNA with the original movie, which that's just another way of saying I'm a fucking douchebag. Like, screw you. It's either connected or it's not. You made Lost. Look what you've done. That's
Lindelof's problem. Linda lost.
10 Cloverfield Lane, I think it's like seeable, but like I wouldn't really recommend it to anybody, and I didn't feel bad for having missed it for so long. So sorry, world, but I just don't agree with. I did. I just thought it was okay.
The thing that helped my experience was I got to see the Alamo Drafthouse.
Oh yeah,
not the
every
actual
movie you
Alamo.
see at the Alamo Drafthouse is like plus 10 points better.
Yeah, it's true. Okay. So, another one I saw is the Black Coat's Daughter.
Oh, I still want to see that, yeah.
So, this one is the other one that is made by Oz Perkins, who made the pretty thing that lives in the house.
Which is like a poop sandwich.
Right? I know you didn't like it. I haven't watched it yet, but... okay, so Black Coat's Daughter is... you're either... You're either in the love or not love camp with this one, because it is slow. I'm not gonna say slow burn because it's not a slow burn. It's slow, but it's still captivating. And I'm not gonna tell you too much of the plot, except that there are two things going on at sort of different times, but they're in the same time as your wife. I don't want to ruin it, but there are two different plots going on consecutively, and they sort of might tie together by the end, but that's for you to figure out. And it's that kind of movie where it doesn't wrap it all up in a nice bow and say, here's your movie. This is the one that was supposed to come out years ago. It was originally called February, but the distributor was like, no, we can't call it February because when people search for a movie called February, a lot of things are going to come up, like the month of February. So they changed it to Black Coat's Daughter, which ties into a song that opens up the movie. And I thought it was terrific. I'm in the love camp of it. The horror in it is great. It's pretty brutal at a couple moments, but not over the top. It's good. It's a cool flick. But just tread lightly. Don't go in expecting this beautiful, extravagant Suspiria movie. It's sort of like Suspiria, but not Suspiria.
No, I like a good mysterious movie, and I plan on checking that one out. Probably, I don't know, soonish. Hopefully by the end of the year.
Yeah.
So that sounds cool.
It is. It's cool. It's got a good cast. It's got, was it Emma Roberts and James Remar, Lauren Howie's in it too. It's cool. It's a cool flick. And yeah,
Okay.
I recommend it.
I'm going to tell you about one I saw. This one I actually saw in theaters this past weekend. I went out and trudged out to the theater to watch this. I thought I wasn't going to see it, but then I had an open opportunity to go to the movies. And like nothing else I really give a shit about was playing, so I saw Alien Covenant. Now, Alien Covenant is the follow-up to Prometheus, essentially. It is taking place second overall in the Alien timeline, where Prometheus is first. Prometheus, they should just go back and rename the movie Alien Prometheus at this point, because it's pretty much going to be part of it if now they're calling the movies Alien. Like, why confuse the people who want to buy the DVDs? But I really enjoyed Alien Covenant. I had heard so much shit about it, and I watched it, and I was like, this is really good. It's a really good Prometheus 2. What'd you think of Prometheus? Just okay, or?
I enjoyed it. Yeah,
I enjoyed Prometheus. I didn't love it. I thought it was I thought it was better than just okay. I think it was good.
I think it was good too. You know what I would compare it to, Nick? The Thing prequel.
I would not, because I really hate the Thing prequels.
I know, but it's sort of like that though. Where I'm saying like parallels, where it's before Alien. That's what they said it was supposed to be. And they threw in something at the end to give you a taste of, what's to come.
Right, and I mean, the new Alien franchise that they've started with Prometheus, at no point does it have to actually intersect with the old Alien movies. Like, I'm good if we never see a Ripley thing at all. Then I say a Ripley thing because who knows, it could be a reference or it could be a Ripley thing.
There are rumors... This is a rumors episode.
Don't.
There are rumors about somebody having a meltdown about that. About the Neil Blomkamp alien.
Oh yeah, you know what's funny? I saw some motherfucker on Twitter the other day. Some guy wrote it was not some guy, but I think it was at Nerd Crunch, which is some sort of like little known nerd geek horror sci-fi blog, and like they wrote their headline was Alien 5 may not happen, and I was like, dude. You realize Alien 6 is in theaters right now. And they were like, no, this is about the Neil Blomkamp Alien movie. And I was like, dude, I didn't even respond. Because I knew I was in like, they were in over their head and talking to me at all. Or responding to me. I was even surprised that they responded to you because most times people won't actually like respond to you. If you're just,
yeah.
Like, okay, first off, Alien 6. Alien Covenant is Alien 6. Let's be clear. Second off, Neil Blomkamp's Alien 5 has been dead for years. They declared it dead on every other news site that matters years ago. And like every now and then Neil Blomkamp is like, oh, I might make an Alien movie. No, you're not. You're not going to make any movies. You know why? Because you don't make good movies, Neil Blomkamp. You had one. I don't even remember the name of it. It was the African Aliens movie. What is that?
District 9.
District 9. District 9 was a good movie.
That was 2009.
Yeah. Right. Dude, 8 years ago, you had one movie. You've had how many movies since then? 2?
3.
The one with... Really? All right, well, there's the one with... what's his head? Elysium. That's the one I'm trying to think of.
And then
with,
there was
what's
Chappie.
his head? Hang on. What's his head? Matt Damon? Matt Damon. Yeah. And that movie is... That movie's like super boring. I don't know if you ever saw Elysium. It's like he had a video game plot and he was like, let me turn it into a movie. No, it's not fun unless we're playing it. Then there was Chappie, which I didn't see, but I know it did really poorly. What did he make after Chappie?
He didn't. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. I'm looking it up right now. He did only make Elysium and Chappie. I thought it was 3 movies because it felt like 3 movies, but I haven't watched either.
Right. But you know what? You know what alien movies don't have to be anymore? And I'm totally okay with this. Alien movies do not have to be Alien.
Right.
They do not have to be Alien 1 over and over and over again.
No, because you already saw that movie.
Exactly. Like the haunted house on a spaceship, it was done. Yep. Like, what are you going to do? Give me a haunted house on a spaceship again?
I'm going to bring that up on the next one that I mentioned. However, you know how like a lot of people have Easter eggs in movies and stuff, but only few people will get?
Yeah.
If Neil Blomkamp alien movie, if people only knew the truth, Nick.
Dude.
That's all I'm going to say.
I know.
That's all I'm going to say.
Dude,
However,
the Neil Blomkamp, like, that pisses me off so bad. But anyway, like, I also don't understand how people at this point could care about Neil Blomkamp making a alien movie.
you know why,
Like,
Nick? I'm going to tell you. We're going to have another discussion for a few minutes. Bear with us, people. Here's the fucking big fucking issue I have with Hollywood and people in general these days. Here, you ready for it? Because I fuck it, I'll admit it. I was guilty of this when I did another fucking podcast too.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there. Okay. They love announcements. They love making announcements about shit before it's going to happen or way too in advance before it's actually on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, last week or so, Tales from the Crypt show's not coming out now. Why? Because, there's this comic book called Tales from the Crypt that they didn't have the rights to. So they've been talking about this reboot of a show for how long, and they didn't have the rights to the actual comic books. And then there's, Friday the 13th remake. And all.
Oh my God, don't even.
But people, they love making announcements. And like, it's, dude, you know what it is? It's, the 1930s when the kids were outside trying to sell newspapers going, read it all about it. Read all right here. Extra. And it's like they're trying to become carnival barkers and sell this shit without actually having shit together.
Oh, right. I mean, you look at like the Friday the 13th sequel. Ever since, the remake came out in 2009?
Right. Yeah.
2010? Something like that. First it's getting a sequel. Then it's getting another reboot.
Yeah.
Then it's going to have a found footage movie. Then it's going to be in the snow. Then it was. And
Movies.
I remember the worst I've ever fucking seen in horror movie clickbait was Jason is going to get a new machete. Controversial changes to the machete of Jason for the next film. Dude, first off, he never had a machete. He just had a machete. It wasn't like the Jason machete. And number one. Number two, who cares? Who cares?
It's all about clicks. That's what that's all this is all about. It's all about clicks and likes on social media because that's how they track things now.
And dude, I'm not even done complaining about Friday the 13th because then it was going to be this and then it was going to be that. And then they were like, oh, we sold the rights back to like the other company. Who cares?
Yeah.
And like, I remember like horror people online on Twitter would be like, oh man, it's Friday the 13th. I thought that Friday the 13th movie was scheduled for this Friday the 13th. What happened?
But then,
dude, it's not happening.
It's not.
It's never happening.
And people, like, these movie companies have people so brainwashed where they're, once the news comes out, the people can't wait to share the news. So they're advertising for these corporations about movies.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's like, oh my God, I'm the first one to find the trailer for this fucking movie that you're not going to care about in a year. Right. And then the next week it's, oh my God, I found the trailer for this fucking movie. They're movies, okay?
Dude,
we watch them and we enjoy them and that's it. We talk about them. But go ahead.
My God, my favorite. I'm holding my face. It hurts so bad thinking about it. Dude, my favorite idiots are the ones that are like, oh my God, they're remaking Halloween. Dude, you don't remember how much you hated the remake of Halloween?
Yeah.
Like, you don't remember? And then they're like, no, it's going to be a sequel to Halloween. Do you remember what the sequels to Halloween were like?
And they're dogging Alien. The Alien movies.
Which brings us back to Alien Covenant. Because finally, after years of anticipation, another Alien movie has come out. One that features heavily upon xenomorphs. And people are like crapping on it.
Yeah.
And it's got like really great nods to the other movies that are not like jarring. It has Like, I still see people making the same complaints about this movie as they made about Prometheus that I think are so stupid. When you're like, well, anybody who's like, these people are supposed to be world-class scientists, but they take off their mask as soon as they get to the planet. Dude, if they didn't take off their mask, there wouldn't be a movie. They don't make movies about where everything went perfectly fine and there were no aliens. The end.
Right.
Like, what movie is it? Yes, Alien 7 will be called No Aliens, and it will be about all the smart doctors who don't get face hugged.
It's
okay?
called Aliens.
Yeah, it's my God. Like, how stupid. Like, what do you want the story to be about if not aliens attacking people? And yet they're still like, well, this wasn't that great. But anyway,
and
so
then at the same time, these movies that come out, like slashers or aliens attacking spaceships movies, they all go, well, it's the same old shit. And then they make something different, and then they're like, well, it's not the same old shit. It sucks. And then it's like, okay, well, here, how about we make it? No, it's different. It's not the same old shit. I want the same old. Okay, here's the same old shit, but it's the same old shit. It's like. Let me explain something to you. There's one guy in general. I'm just going to bring up work for a second. And this happens to everybody. Everybody knows this guy.
Okay.
There's a guy who loves talking about seniority. And I have seniority. Blah, 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 blah. So what happens is he's bitching that people with lower seniority are getting jobs that give them overtime when he's getting sent home early. So he's complaining about it, right? On social media, complaining. I have seniority. This is bullshit. And they're like, oh, you should bring that up at work. So here's what happens. If they bring it up at work, or he brings it up to the manager. So the manager, towards the end of the day, goes, hey, we got a job we can have you pick up. Oh, no way. That's going to put me way past my 8 hours. It's like, what? Wait a minute. You were just complaining that these guys are doing jobs and getting overtime, and now you don't want to work past 8 hours. No, I'm not working past 8 hours. But I'm not going home early. It's like, well, what do you want? Like, you can't have both. So it's the same about movies. Like, these people exist. They're not everybody. They're not every fan, where they want the same, but they also want different. And if you can find the perfect melding of that, which I'll bring up Scream again, they did it at the time, it was the perfect horror movie for that time, where they said slashers are way past their due date, you know. So how about we give birth to this movie and make it meta and you know, self-referential. And then that spawned everybody else to do the same type of thing. However, at the time it was perfect. Now everybody, Scream sucks. It's not, you know, blah blah blah. But what I'm getting at is you can't complain that something is different or needs to be different, and then when something different comes out, it's just not. It's all about a matter of taste. Everybody has their own likes and dislikes. So, like, knock knock. Nick doesn't like it. I love it. I'm sure I'll probably end up watching The Mummy at some point, and I'll say, hey, Nick, you're not going to believe this. I like The Mummy. And you're going to go, fuck you. We're done talking.
But at any rate, Alien Covenant, good movie. I felt like it was the perfect follow-up to Prometheus 2, that where they expanded on the good stuff from it and didn't like dwell too much anywhere, and also added in a lot of xenomorphs attacking, which almost felt to the point that it was gratuitous, which is a good thing to say, right? Yeah. I mean, that's cool. And I hope that they make more. I hope that they make more in this line of movies. I don't care if they put them out in the summer or if they put them out in February where nobody's going to watch them. I'll watch them because I think that they're kind of cool. And they're way better than Alien vs. Predator, Alien vs. Predator 2, or Alien 3 or 4. This is the third best Alien movie, and I think everybody should check it out. And you know what? Do it with an open mind and don't be a shithead.
Yeah, stop being a shithead.
So much cursing this episode. We try and not curse so much. We try not to,
but you know what? I'm in a very, very hot room right now, so I'm eating.
I'm in front of a nice cold air conditioner.
You can't see it right now, but I'm whipping my... Anyway.
Well.
I'm kidding, I'm not. So, to tie into the Alien movie, guess what I watched?
Was it Neil Blomkamp's Alien 5?
No,
I'll stop.
I watched Life.
Oh, really?
Neil Blomkamp's Alien 5? Oh my gosh, don't get me started on it, Nick. Don't get me started, because it will open up a giant can of worms.
It's already happening right now.
So anyway, a giant can of worms, and people will all start tweeting me, "What are you talking about? What's this all about?" And I can't answer. It's it's not.
So the one that you
Life.
made,
Life. I made Life. I was like, "Yo, Ryan, like, no, Life." Okay, so this is the one that came out and failed miserably at the box office. I had Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal and other people like Rebecca Ferguson and these other people in it. What it is, tell me if you heard this plot before, Nick, and I'll tell you if I like it or not soon, is,
okay.
Let me see, there's the cast is very diverse, so I'm going to put it that way. There's Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal, okay? We know who they are. Then you have Rebecca Ferguson, who is British, okay? And who are the other ones? Their names are... These are not famous people to me. I'm sorry. I don't watch movies that aren't horror as much, so you have to bear with me. Okay. So then you have Hiroyuki Sanada, right? Who is he was in the Wolverine, it says on here, and Sunshine, 47 Ronin, Japanese dude. Then you have Olga. I can't pronounce her last name. Not going to work here anymore. I'll just call her Russian, right? Then you have Ariane Bakari, who's this black dude that's like really cool with alien life forms and a scientist, and he's like, hey, yeah, I like this stuff. So, okay, so what happens is they're on this expedition in a spaceship, and they discover this life form, this tiny little, like amoeba, we'll call it, or something like, yeah, I'm not going to get scientific. They discover it, and then what happens is they're orbiting in space, and they're going to test the life form to see what's going on with it, to see if it's cool with people, and if it is, then they're going to bring it back to Earth, but they don't want to bring it back to Earth until it's safe with them, because they don't know what, or they don't know if it's dangerous or not. So, what is it? Bakari, he plays a guy named Hugh who's playing with the little thing, and then it turns out, you're not gonna believe this, in a horror sci-fi thriller, that the life form is not nice. It's mean. And
right.
What it does is it grasps onto you almost like a squid or a snake with tentacles, and it gets into your mouth or any orifice, does its shit inside and eats you from the inside, and then it comes out bigger. So that's what this little thing does. And yeah, you know it's going to escape, because I mean, if the same thing, what kind of movie do you want? Do you want the thing to just stay in a little cage and they're like, oh, it's so cute, this is cool, and that's the end of the movie? No, it's going to get out.
Or even better, the crew goes up there and they find no life, and they come back and they go, we're empty-handed again, guys. Sorry.
Life sucks. So I saw a lot of hate on this movie too. I mean, through the roof. Same shit. Predictable plot, bunch of shit, blah, 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 blah. And then some people are like, hey, it's pretty cool. It's like a A-lister Roger Corman movie. And I'm like, well, I'm fucking cool with that, because I love Galaxy of Terror and what's the other one? Is it Mutant? I think it's Mutant. I can't remember. It has two different names. But I love those kind of movies. I like the sci-fi alien ripoffs. And that's exactly what this is. It's an alien ripoff. Because the thing gets out. I'm not going to tell you who dies and what order or anything like that, but it kills them off one by one. And it's really cool. It's completely in orbit. Like, the whole movie is camera floating through the spaceship. So if you can watch a movie like that, cool, because all the actors and everybody are floating throughout this thing. It's filled with adrenaline. It's filled with cool effects. It is CGI, so it's CGI. We know that, but it's not really terrible CGI. With some practical effects, and the practical effects are really cool in it. I loved it, Nick. I thought it was fucking great. Yeah, because
I thought after all that setup, you'd say you hate it.
No, because it is somewhat predictable, and it is kind of by the numbers, in a sense. Even though some people may die out of order, much like The Void. But the end of this movie is so perfect. It's like, I am just going to tell you this. If you don't see it, tough. If you see it, and you're like, okay, the end may or may not make up for the rest of the film that you just watched. Mm-hmm. Like, it feels like I don't want to ruin it, but it's just one of those that I was like, I can't believe they just did that. That's kind of fucking great. So that's my sell for it. So now you can put on social media. Jack says ending is brilliant. Gotta see it.
Right. No. The real clickbait says, does Jack say ending is a problem? And then you click it and it's like, no, Jack actually loved the ending.
Fucking hate clickbait with a passion. How long have we been
Jack hates life.
Yeah. Life sucks, yes. Jack says life sucks, but does it? Find out in ...
Right.
Hate them. And then you get there, and then you got to click the next page, and then that brings up an ad about somebody trying to sell you a Toyota or something.
Fucking slideshow and shit. No.
That's why on those things now, if I am intrigued for whatever stupid reason, I just look at the comments, because they'll save you a click and they'll put all the list up there without any of that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, definitely, man. I can't believe that I've seen so many good horror movies this year.
Right, or just in general, like, even like Knock Knock, the one that I'm complaining about over here, like, movies are so much better than they were just a few years ago. Maybe it's because we're exposed to just what we want to see. Like, I think the nature of this podcast versus the previous one that we used to do like whatever was on the schedule, that's what we're doing, and like whatever's coming out, we're gonna see it. Whatever we got a screener for or a freebie on, we're gonna watch it and talk about it. And like, we were subjected to so much just garbage that like, what, we got a DVD in the mail, we got to watch it. And I think nowadays, since we're just watching what we want to watch, we're just watching like the good stuff. Like, you'll notice, if you are a fan of the Jack and Nick Horror Show, we don't do a lot of horror, possessed, ghost, supernatural stuff. And so long as we stay away from that, we seem to be pretty goddamn happy. Like,
or home invasions.
I don't even think in the whole time we've been doing this show, I don't think we've done a single, home invasion, ghost movie, supernatural thing, have we? Like, any supernatural we do is like much weirder supernatural, like Idle Hands or Deathgasm. Not like, ooh, there's a ghosty possession, So long as we, and it's not even like I don't even dislike like the Wannaverse movies of The Conjuring or Insidious. They just are what they are. Right. But when you watch them over and over and over again, and it gets to the point where it's like, why you ask this question, you do. Why are ghosts jerks? Yeah. Why are they all jerks? Why are they just like slamming doors and being mad? Like, dude, why are ghosts just doing that? And like, it gets tiring after a while. And I think so long as we keep subjecting ourselves to crazy movies like The Void or whatever, we'll be happy.
We did Ghostbusters.
That is not the same type of ghost situation whatsoever. And there was a lot to discuss.
Right.
And even that was not as awful as some of the boring ghost possession things that we've had to sit through. Major theater releases of ghost possession, supernatural Ouija board shit was worse than Ghostbusters. And I didn't even really like Ghostbusters. I thought it was all right. It's a year on since that movie. I barely remember it. And I will say this. It is still a miracle that after 20 years, the movie that came out wasn't just complete and utter garbage, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Because they went over many drafts and ideas that were just garbage.
Well, they were for years. I mean, a lot of the stuff that Dan Aykroyd was writing was garbage, too.
Right.
I mean, his original script was garbage, and then they had to bring in Ramis to hone it all in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to know what the Ghostbusters original script was, watch Blues Brothers 2000.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you'll see what exactly you would have been dealt.
You know what part perplexes me about the Ghostbusters movie that came out? And I think that it would have been terrible if they included this scene. There's the obvious... Now, I don't know if anybody out there even saw the Ghostbusters remake, whatever you call it, the Lady Ghostbusters movie. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now it actually has a different title. This is one of the movies where they gave it a different title after it came out. What do they call it now? Ghostbusters... Oh, it's about time or something, you know? Like there's some they added a subtitle that is now officially part of the title. Just like they did with that
Really?
Yeah, with Edge of Tomorrow. Remember when they renamed that movie Die Kill Repeat because that was the original name and it bombed, it didn't do too well. Anyway, so Ghostbusters, right? The part that perplexes me is there's an obvious setup for a massive dance number in the movie, and then it doesn't happen, and it's shown sort of like over the end credits that there was a dance number filmed and it was a big deal. Mm-hmm. I think that they deliberately cut it out of the movie, probably because people watching the movie, you know, at like the advanced screenings or whatever, must have shat on that scene so hard that they actually removed it from the movie and just put it in at the credits.
I'm glad they did, because it fit perfectly during the credits. Because if that had happened during the movie, I would have been like, and we're done.
Exactly. I would have checked the hell out. And not just me, since that movie was already somewhat controversial in general for many different reasons, mostly because people were going back and tinkering with something that didn't need to be tinkered with, but also because there was like debates about misogyny over it for no reason. But I think that what you don't need in a movie that's slightly controversial is a big stupid dance number that is horrible.
It's just random. I mean, that's what a lot of movies, especially comedies, are nowadays anyway. They make them just to have moments. It's just one moment after the next, and it's a series of moments that they edit together, throw a plot in there if they feel like it, and then call it a movie. And sometimes that works great, brilliantly, like Caddyshack, and then other times it doesn't. And that's a prime example. Let's put a dance number in Ghostbusters.
Right.
I mean, and it doesn't even feature the girls. Let's put an all male dance number in this movie.
Oh my god, that would have been a train wreck. And that movie already, like, again, I didn't like it that much. I think you thought it was better than I thought it was.
I really enjoyed it. I mean,
I did not really enjoy it, but I definitely didn't hate it, and I thought it was a miracle that it wasn't garbage. But at any rate, guys,
it's not a bad movie.
I don't know why we're talking about this so long. So anyway,
because you're talking about ghosts, and you said that we don't do ghost movies on the show, and then I mentioned that we did Ghostbusters, and then you said, "Well, Ghostbusters isn't a ghost movie. Come on now." And then you go, speaking of
somebody out there who wants to fight me. No, I was just thinking about that dance number thing the other day. Anyway, you got any other movies you'd like to talk about before we call it a night?
Dance number. It's as bad as the Neil Blomkamp Alien 5 thing. That, hey, let's announce something that doesn't even fucking exist. It's just some guy coming up with some bullshit.
Right.
And calling it something that it really isn't. And then somebody goes, wah! Boom! Freaks out. Turns into Psycho. Psycho! Psycho! Psycho. Yeah, I watched, Psycho. A lot of it's older shit. Frankenstein Created Bikers I watched.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
It is sort of, but it's a sequel to Dear God No, and it's 2 hours long.
Oh,
That's the. I'm gonna just say that's the only thing that hinders it. They're like touting that like it's 2 hours of exploitation gold and boobs and blood and guts and all that, and it is that. It's exactly that. But 2 hours is a little bit too long for Jackie Boy. I still enjoyed it for what it was, but it's not one I'm gonna rewatch over and over. Oh, and Bait with the Sharni Vincent and Xavier Samuels, the sharks in grocery store. Cool flick.
oh yeah, a ridiculous idea. But I wanted to see it even when I first heard about it because it just sounded so stupid.
It's definitely cool. How about you? Anything else from you?
No, man, that is the extent of my viewing for the past couple of weeks and maybe even months. I haven't had a whole lot of time to catch up on things, and there's still other stuff on like Netflix, HBO, and now briefly while I have Hulu that I want to catch up on.
Yeah, I watched.
I only have Hulu because of a free subscription thing, so I got to fit in my
free for a month. I love Hulu. Oh my god, I love it so much.
Really? Why?
Yeah, because I don't have cable, so I get to watch TV shows, and sometimes when I'm not in the mood to watch a movie, or if I don't have time, or if I'm like cooking or something, it's like, hey, let's put on some Gordon Ramsay shit, or let's put it on in the background.
Right.
Because a lot of times
I pretty much do that with like YouTube.
Right. Oh yeah, that's another thing to do. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Anyway, Nick, we already plugged our shit, so we're done. Let's get out. We're done.
All right. Oh wait, we didn't plug our Tumblr.
Who uses that anymore?
If you find our Tumblr, just send us a screenshot of it. We haven't seen it for years. We really haven't. I don't even know the address. Just if you find Jack and Nick Horror Show on Tumblr, tell me, is it updating?
We don't even have an Instagram.
We don't. What would we even do with it? We'd put the same shit that we already put on Twitter and everywhere else.
I would give it my left testicle or my right testicle or two testicles. That's how I like it. Here's this movie, and then here's my balls or no balls.
Yeah, this is why nobody likes us.
You watch. Somebody's gonna take that idea and run with it. Now they're gonna be like, "Dude, that's a great idea. I got an idea. What's that?" And it's gonna be somebody that's bald, and they have a goatee, and they're wearing a horror shirt, and they're talking to some other guy that's bald, and a goatee and a horror shirt, and then another guy is bald, he's got a goatee and a horror shirt, and they're gonna be like, "Guys, I got this great idea. What's that?" All right, so if a movie's good, we give it balls. If it's okay, we give it 1 ball. If it's not good, we give it no balls. This movie's got no balls. It's brilliant. Oh my god, dude, that's so great. Oh my god, yeah, let's do that. And it's going to be called Movie or Horror Balls Podcast. Just for the record, I am bald. I don't have a goatee. Nick does have a goatee, but he's not bald.
Actually, I have a beard now.
He has a beard now.
Yeah. Yeah, but that is actually, I'm gonna say, when we're done with the Jack and Nick Horror Show, that's who we're gonna be in the third incarnation of our podcast life. Okay, Horror Balls.
Horror Balls. That's a great rating system. You gotta admit, if you're going for cheap thrills and stupid shit, that's what you go with. And people would gravitate towards that for about 3 weeks until they realize you're complete and utter assholes, and then they go away.
Right, and it'll be Horror Balls with Bald Jack and Fat Nick.
Oh, God. And then people will come in late to the game, and then they'll be like, "Oh, well, that show's over now, but a couple of the guys are doing this show, but it's not that show. Oh my god, I'm going to complain about it on fucking iTunes."
Right. Jack and Nick Horror Show used to be somewhat sophisticated discussion about horror movies. Now it's just talking about balls.
We're just...
Oh, I killed him.
You did. It's... Oh, my God. Man, there's so many bitches out there. And I'm not being disrespectful to women. I mean, women and men can be bitches. It's just terrible. Terrible out there.
It's just, horror balls, man. I'm really liking this idea now. I can't wait to make the t-shirts.
Coming up next episode, Jack and Nick's horror balls.
Oh, that's the end of this show. Talk to you next time, everybody.
I used to not like them because they weren't the other show, but now they got balls.
But sometimes they have no balls. I'm confused by the rating system.
They laugh at the road jokes. I hate my life. I'm going to go beat up my girlfriend because I'm a miserable piece of shit who has to complain on iTunes about a podcast.
That got really dark in there, let me tell you.
Not me.
Oh my God, he's dead.
I am dead. No.
All right.
Much
good
love
night
to everybody.
Tell these people good night before we ruin some other show.
Good night. Good night, everybody. And much love to all the haters out there. I hope you find your inner peace and your balls.
Bye.